Today I'm making a box out of Australian Red Cedar, which grows mainly on the east coast of Australia. The mitred corners of the box are bridged by Huon Pine and Ebony splines. Since the age of 9, I've made around 60 of these boxes, with several going to overseas clients. They've been extremely popular and good sellers when I was selling products. So wherever you are, sit back, relax and enjoy my new video. Hopefully you'll find it entertaining. I've been collecting timber offcuts for years now and decided to use some finally, so I'm making a small box. After I cut the 12 components to size, it was time to sand them on the drum sander. It's always a good idea to have someone to pass the timber back to you, so I did both. I use packing tape to pull the mitred joints together instead of clamps. Each layer of tape is stretched over the next and it holds the corners in position extremely well. I decided to use a thin strip of ebony and a larger piece of Huon Pine as exposed splines to strengthen the corner joints. Here I'm cutting the ebony to length on the bandsaw. As you can see here, it's important to make the splines the right thickness. This one just wouldn't go in until I flipped it over. I placed the lid frame on the box to ensure the measurements of both were the same. To save you watching me make the lid and the base frames, the following footage is made up of both, because the process is the same. To get the best results when making frames, I quite often sand the heel or the toe of a miter joint to get it spot on. The black line you see here isn't a gap. It's actually half the pen line left after I cut and sand the miter joints. If you watch closely, I rub the miter joint together. This is the best way to get the two surfaces to meet up and remove all the excess glue. I cut 16 grooves in the mitered corners to take the Huon Pine and Ebony splines. Here I'm cutting the 4 in the base frame on my homemade jig on the table saw. Here I'm cutting the thin strips of Huon Pine for the lid and base frame splines. It does take a bit of practice to cut repeatable thin strips. I use the router to add some shape to the base frame. To mark the outline of the hinge recess, I screw it in place, then cut around it with a sharp knife. After cutting the hinge recess in the lid frame, I cut the matching recess in the box to take the other side of the hinge. Next step is to fit the box lock. After marking it out and scribing the lines, I remove the waste. I remember back in the 1980s, I would chisel all of the waste out. However, I finally figured it out. Using the drill press was a lot easier. Now the lock is fitted, it's time to mark out the keyhole and fit the brass escutcheon. I use a drill the same size as the top of the escutcheon, then a 1mm drill to mark the corners. The small holes help to cut into the tight corners. I selected a piece of timber with interesting grain for the lid infill. The plank was split in two on the bandsaw because the lid infill will be book matched, or the same on both sides. How good do the book match panels look for the lid? After the glue is dry, I take the lid out of the clamps and then run it through the drum sander. No one wants to see me sand. I seal the lid panel with shellac, then a coat of hard wax oil to stop it drying out and warping. I use the router to cut a rebate in the underneath of the lid. The rebate takes the book matched lid infill. After cutting the lid infill to size, I sand the corners for a snug fit. To position the latch part of the box lock, I dab CA glue on it before pressing the lid onto the latch. All the lock components are recessed, so the lid will close fully. After sanding down through the grits and wiping the dust off, it's time to give the box 2 or 3 coats of hard wax oil. All of the hardware in this box is solid brass and ended up being more expensive than the timber. The box was quite a complicated build. In total, there is 39 pieces of timber, 2 hinges and the lock. To finish the inside of the box, I glued black leather to a panel. The panel fits into the base frame. When you open the box, you see the leather on the bottom. Leather has such a luxurious feel, and I just couldn't help myself. To tidy up the underneath of the box, I glue on black felt and the box is finished. Here are some pictures of the finished box. The Australian Red Cedar has a beautiful grain, and your challenge is to figure out where the 39 pieces of wood are. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making the box.